In Psalm 147, King David writes, God will build Jerusalem and gather all those of Israel who have been pushed away. Says the sage of Nachman in Brochus, page 49a, when will Jerusalem be rebuilt? When it's time for the exiles to be gathered. In Maimonides' Laws of Kings, he writes, if a king will arise from the house of David, who diligently studies the Torah and observes its mitzvahs as prescribed by the written law and the oral law, as did David, his ancestor, if he will compel all of Israel to walk in the way of the Torah and rectify the breaches in its observance, and fight the wars of God, then we may consider him to be Moshiach. If he succeeds in the above, builds the temple in its place, and gathers the dispersed of Israel, he is definitely the Moshiach. He will then improve the entire world, motivating all the nations to serve God together. Now, no one will deny that these are events difficult for us to conceive. We can use words like world peace, and every Jew will return to Israel. Every human will serve one God. But do we really think it's even possible? Or how we will achieve this? In 1953, a young student at Yeshiva University asked the Lubavitcher Rebbe how a 20th century world could handle the building of an ancient temple and all the social and ritual changes that will come with it. The Rebbe patiently explained that the messianic era is not just a change in demographics, it's a quantum leap in the way human beings perceive the world. Once that change has occurred, things that seem absurd to us today will appear perfectly reasonable. So, just as we cannot imagine world peace until it comes, the same with the building of the third temple. Today, in 2023, perhaps we can suggest that artificial intelligence is the preview of that quantum leap perspective. There's also another way to make these concepts more real to us, and that is to study about the subject of Moshiach and redemption. Specifically now in the 9 days, we focus on the laws of the Holy Temple of the Rambam's Hilchos Beis HaBechira. We find something very interesting concerning the structure of the Holy Temple, and that is its location on a specific mountain top. The name of that mountain was originally Mount Moriah, but then it changed to Har HaBayit, the mountain of the house, or the Temple Mount. The peak of the mountain had a flat surface, but it sloped down on all sides. Given the large size of the complex, only the core of the temple stood on a flat surface. The courtyard areas were built on the sides of the mountain, requiring a good number of steers to navigate the incline. There were 13 levels on the Temple Mount. And the question we must ask is, why was the Holy Temple built on the incline of a mountain? Why not find a mountain that had a large enough flat peak to house the temple? There is a profound lesson embedded in this fact that will help us understand our current relationship with God. The first thing we are to understand is that to meet God in His house, we must go up. We must ascend a mountain. We cannot expect to have that meaningful relationship if we stay put in our low level. Next, we realize that the gold sits all the way at the top. So the climb is a process. It's not a quick fix. How fast or slow we climb isn't what's important. What is important is that we are climbing. We are headed in the right direction, so keep climbing. And finally, we are to know that when ascending a mountain, it is difficult to remain in one position. We must either climb further upward or we will be going down. There really isn't too much of a staying put where you are option. If you stop climbing and expect to remain in your current position, chances are you will be descending shortly. Similarly, every Jew must always strive to advance in his or her spiritual service. Otherwise, we are likely to fall to a lower level. The Haftorah this week opens with the words Chazon Yeshayahu. Isaiah had a vision. So impactful are these words that the entire Shabbos is called Shabbat Chazon, the Shabbos of vision. The Holy Tzaddik Rabbi Yitzchak of Berditchev taught us that on this Shabbos, every single Jew is privileged with a vision of the third Holy Temple. The purpose of this vision is to motivate us, to activate us, to do the little more that is necessary to end this exile and bring about the messianic redemption. It's a very empowering Shabbos to connect to the messianic energy. Let us be activated. Let us connect. Let's bring an end to the suffering, pain, and hardships. Let us merit a time when we can point with our finger and say, "Behold, Moshiach has arrived." Without delay, Amen.